up? I'm Corey Miller here with Frank Cusimano, and there's really only one thing we can talk about today after that Saturday night Game 3 loss, Blues and Avalanche. We got to talk about the collision. Jordan Binnington is going to be out for a while. They say at least the rest of the second round against Colorado, but it seems a little bit more serious than that. No surgery, though. You were there earlier today with Craig Berube. Just how bad does it sound?
Well, it doesn't look good, and I think that all you needed was that 3-second shot that was on television last night when you saw him try to go through some drills with Ray Barilli, and at first it was looking really good, then all of a sudden he just kind of crumbled. And it really did remind me, when it happened, and even the fact that it was a knee, of Grant Fuhr with Nick Kypreos. So, look, I think they'd almost have to get to the Stanley Cup Finals for him to be back, and I don't even know if he could get back then. I mean, just think of the contortions your knee goes through, what he has to do to be ready to play an NHL game. I doubt it.
He tried to make it look like he was going to stay out there, but from the press box, it looked like he was even having trouble standing up. He was leaning on his stick. We didn't see him back on the bench the whole time. And the worst thing about this is he was playing so well. He looked like 2019 Binnington again for real.
Statistically, the best goalie in the NHL playoffs. And it really just makes you just, you don't want to sound like you're a mean-spirited person on the Lord's Day, but how much damage can one human being do to one city?
Yeah.
And all mean-spirited and all cheap shot. It's not like it was Ivan Barbashev and a legal hit, against the boards. Kadri knew exactly what he was doing. Everybody knows that.
Yeah. Let's get into the Kadri angle of this, because he's been a guy that's been on St. Louis's radar for a long time. Last year, knocked Justin Falk out with a concussion. He was suspended 8 games for that hit. Of course, we saw the Binnington play. Let's break down that play a little bit, because it seems like Blues fans are all against it and Colorado fans are all for it, and that's what you'd expect. But there's not as much people on the Blues side as I would have thought. But if you look back and you play it back really slow, especially what Kadri says happens, didn't happen. He says he got pushed by Rosen into Binnington. That's just a lie. That didn't happen.
He was riding Rosen into Binnington.
Yeah. Rosen was going to clear the puck, had the angle, and Kadri comes in on the side of him, and they both end up in Binnington's lap.
Yeah, and let's face it. If it's somebody, say, like Ryan O'Reilly and this happens, you may give that player the benefit of the doubt. But we have a career criminal. We have a guy who's been suspended 6 times.
Yeah.
He has the suspensions to prove it. They used to say about, fear strikes out. Jimmy Piersall, he's nuts and he has the papers to prove it. Well, this guy's got the suspensions to prove it.
Yeah. Berube said it last night. You look at Kadri's reputation, that's all I've got to say about it. Even later in the game, did you see the play where he ended up with Jordan Kyrou's stick?
Oh
I don't know how there wasn't a penalty on that.
He carried it for like 15 seconds.
He did. There was also no penalty on the play with Binnington. There's no suspension forthcoming, so no league action against Kadri. I guess the puck being loose out in front maybe had made this easier for the NHL.
Well, especially, too, Koharski goes on national television saying it was a clean play and all this.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have another NHL referee in studio tonight on Sports Plus who's going to tell you a little bit more about what kind of person Nazem Kadri is.
There's a good tease. You were also at skate. Well, it wasn't skate. It was just interviews this morning. It sounded like the guys weren't up for a payback of any sort. At least they're probably going to tell you that no matter what. But they're focused on winning the game, they say, and they're not looking out for any retribution when it comes to Kadri.
They can't, because you don't want to give the Colorado Avalanche a long power play. I think if you get a chance to crush them and do it legally, you do it. But then next year what happens, let's just say their first game is in November, and you go to Cam Janssen and say, Cam, we're going to dress you for one game, and you're going to get one shift, and go out and get them.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
All right, let's look ahead here a little bit. Game 4 is obviously going to be huge. The pendulum of this series has already shifted multiple times. The Blues have to take it back again. You've said this a couple times. It feels like that hand pass game against San Jose in 2019, where it just looked so bad. The Blues were down in the dumps. Everything went wrong, and then they came out and proved us wrong. That needs to happen again.
Yeah, that's why this guy is so great. I'm talking about Craig Berube, because on 2019, May 15th, the way he turned the page that night, when he had a legitimate beef on how they lost that game. Yeah. Same thing last night. Same thing today. They got to turn the page, and we were a really good hockey team. We're going to be just fine. You think about it, too, is after that first game when they got over 100 chances, it was Berube projecting confidence. Hey, we got a good team. We got good hockey players. We're going to be fine. and that same type of confidence. Look, I'm not a betting man, but I'd bet a milkshake they win tomorrow. Unless Ville Husso's not good.
We're going to talk about Ville Husso here. We're going to channel some Dick Vermeil, rally around Ville Husso, and play good hockey. He was the starter coming into the playoffs after all. But, again, how crazy it is that things change. Jordan Binnington on fire, Husso back in there. I wasn't too impressed with him last night, but it's kind of hard to judge that based on throwing a guy in cold. What do you think we can expect from Husso?
Well, he did have one goal I didn't like.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, you do come in cold. He hasn't played in a long time. Look, he's really talented. I mean, he was one of the 7 or 8 best goaltenders in the National Hockey League this season. But we don't know how he handles big stages. Game 1 against Minnesota, shutout, 37 saves. But since then, he has not been as good. So I don't know if anybody knows for sure. I do know this. They're going to play the people around him a great hockey game. In fact, that's what's so frustrating about last night, that they played such a complete Craig Berube game plan to perfection. I think they only allowed 28 shots.
Yep.
And then just to have that Binnington thing happen. Ooh.
The air went out of the arena. They're going to need it back on Monday for sure as they try to even the series against Colorado, head back for Game 5, and take control. So we'll see how it goes. 8:30 puck drop on Monday against Colorado. Blues need to win it for sure. That'll do it for this episode of Chasing the Cup with Frank. I'm Corey. We'll see you next time.